What's up everyone, it's Thomas with Real Broker here in St. Augustine, Florida, and today we're going to cover the 21 things that you need to know about if you're considering buying, selling, or investing here in St. Augustine, Florida. And if you are considering buying, selling, or investing here in the area, make sure you reach out to me directly, whether it's a call, text, or email, and I would love to be able to help you out. The first thing you need to know about on our 21 things to know about before moving to St. Augustine is going to be that St. Augustine is the epitome of Southern hospitality. We just won Southern Living's Best Town of the South for 2023, and that's for many reasons. One of them is going to be the hospitality here in the area. People in general just seem to be nicer. Maybe it's the 12 months of sunshine that we get year round. Maybe it's the weather that we get, which is pretty much 70 to 80 degrees outside July and August. Whatever that is, people here just seem to be a little bit friendlier. I remember I actually broke down on the side of the road, and most people, in a lot of places, they won't get out to help. And that's the truth, right? But when I broke down at an intersection, which is like the worst place. I was trying to turn left into my little subdivision area, and actually two people got out their trucks, pulled over to the side, helped me push so I get through the intersection, and then another truck kind of guided us away, so that no cars would kind of, T-bone us or anything as we go through the intersection. I pushed it a good bit. I'm not saying this was like a short distance and all. This is probably about 10-15 minutes of pushing, and they were sweating, I was sweating, but that's Southern hospitality for you. People seem to go out of their way for their fellow man here, and if you're looking to move here, I hope you're no different. The next thing that you want to know about is that St. Augustine has some really great architecture. It was originally established in 1565 by the Spanish, and it still has a lot of Spanish architecture here in the area. A lot of the houses on St. George Street that are now commercial spaces were originally established by the Spanish when they first came to this area and settled. And that's on top of other beautiful places here in St. Johns County. We have the St. Augustine Lighthouse, which is a beautiful lighthouse that's been there for over 100 years. We have Castillo de San Marcos, which borders the Matanzas River and overlooks the Lions Bridge. We got Flagler College, which was originally built by Henry Flagler, the railroad magnate, in the early 1900s to be a hotel, which is now Flagler College, which is one of the top liberal arts schools here in the country. We also have Casa Monica, which is a beautiful hotel in downtown St. Augustine. We also have the Leitner Museum. My point is that if you're looking for beautiful architecture, a beautiful skyline amongst the sunset, you can definitely find that here. Okay, and the next thing is geographic location. For a long time, people just didn't know what St. Augustine was. That same magazine, Southern Living, used to call us the hidden gem of the South because no one knew about us. But for the most part, a lot of people have heard about us today. We're just south of Jacksonville, about 30 minutes to an hour, depending where you are in St. Johns County or in St. Augustine. And we're in northeastern Florida, so we're on the Atlantic coast. A lot of people think we're Gulf side. I'm not sure why, but we're on the Atlantic coast. We're just an hour under Jacksonville, about an hour north of Daytona, about 2 hours northeast of Orlando. The next point is that St. Augustine, downtown St. Augustine, a lot of St. Johns County is going to be waterfront. Like I just said, we're on the Atlantic, so we do have 42 miles of ocean that we have access to. But we also have the Intercoastal Waterway. St. Augustine Beach is on Anastasia Island, which is a barrier island to the state of Florida. So we have the Matanzas River through the Intercoastal that you have access to as well, which is tidal waters. So the tide goes in, the tide goes out. So if you're looking to buy a property that maybe is on a canal or has a boat lift, you have to be aware of the tidal waters and when's the best time to go out for you and your situation. And number 5 on our list is going to be the food scene here in St. Augustine. Now, St. Augustine has one of the best food scenes for a small town, and it has taken leaps and bounds over these past couple years from what it was to what I remember as a kid. Really, when we got Longhorn Steakhouse out on 312, people in town were ecstatic. We thought we were moving up in the world. But now we have plenty of small family-owned restaurants that are some of the best food that you're going to see in northeastern Florida. To name a few, we have Llama, which is a Peruvian restaurant, which is in Davis Shores on Anastasia Island. Fantastic restaurant, great place, great experience, and definitely worth a try. We have St. Augustine Fish Camp, which borders the Intercoastal as well. You have sunset views every night and a ton of great seafood, a lot of old Florida cooking. We have the locals love to go to Ned's, which is Ned's Southside Kitchen, and that place is just what you could think. It's just all the good food you could think, Southern good food that makes you feel good and makes you want to pass out when you're done. But we have some really great food and dining options here in St. Augustine. The next thing you need to know about is that football is a very big deal here. Now, of course, we do have the Jacksonville Jaguars up in Jacksonville, which is about an hour from us, but they've really only been around since 1998. For the most part, high school football was a big deal, and it still is a big deal here in our area. A lot of the high schools here win state championships back-to-back years, and football in general, just Florida in general for football, I think recruits the most D1 athletes out of any other state. But football on Fridays is a big deal here. It's public broadcasted. You'll see lines of people trying to go into to the stadiums to watch the shows. You got a lot of fans because people still live here that went to school here, and they're big fans of the teams here. Now, I will say, with the Jacksonville Jaguars doing so well this past year, Trevor Lawrence coming out looking like sunshine from Remember the Titans has really rallied a lot of energy in the city regarding the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're diehard fans, and that's because I think they've just been dragged through the mud so much, and we now get a little glimmer of hope, and the city of Jacksonville is riled up. This whole area is riled up for the Jaguars. The next thing you need to know about is traffic in the area. Because of our growing population here, traffic has gotten a lot worse, especially when you compare it to 20 years ago. You're going to see people complaining once you get plugged in, you move here, you're going to see people complaining that have lived here for their entire lives, complaining about how bad traffic is. And you're right, there was once a time where you could drive around the entire city of St. Augustine in about 15 minutes, and that time is no longer here unless you're doing it at midnight. So traffic around US 1 and 312 normally does get pretty bad. If you're looking to be downtown St. Augustine during the heavy tourist times, such as spring break, summer, and winter, the holidays there, it can be really, really bad, especially during Night of Lights, which is when they essentially string up thousands and thousands of lights all over historic downtown St. Augustine, and it's a tourist attraction. We're one of the best light shows in the entire United States, but the traffic during that time, especially if you're a local, is just terrible because it's literally 10 times more people here on the streets than there ever is. The next thing you need to know about is the schools here in the area. St. Johns County School District has been ranked #1 in the entire state of Florida for years. I think it was 6 years in a row. This past year, we actually got bumped down to #2. That could be because of all the growth going on here in St. Johns County. A lot of the schools in the northern part of St. Johns County apparently have some overcrowding, but we still hold that #2 spot, which is out of, I think there's like 36 different school districts or something like that, maybe 60, I can't remember. That's a really good place to sit regardless. The next thing you need to know about is going to go more with the lifestyle here in St. Augustine, and that is our live music scene. Pretty much every night you can find a local band playing downtown or one of the other cafes around town, but we also have the St. Augustine Amphitheater, which pulls in some really great acts. I think they got Billy Idol coming, they have Widespread Panic coming this weekend, they have Milky Chance coming. I actually just saw that Robert Plant is going to be coming here towards the end of the summer, which is something I'm really stoked about because I'm a big Led Zeppelin fan. I think he's doing his country album, but I just feel like I need to see him regardless because I don't know how much longer he's going to be out here doing it. But St. Augustine Amphitheater actually sells more tickets than Red Rocks in Colorado, but you also got to think we're open 12 months of the year, so we have a lot more opportunity to sell more tickets. And the 10th thing that you need to know about on this list is going to be the beach rules. A lot of people ask me if you can drive on the beach. Yes, you can. They have two-wheel drive access, four-wheel drive access, and all-wheel drive access. There's certain areas that only designate certain access. So there's one area that you can get two-wheel drive, and the attendant will let you know. Like, just go up and ask them, say, hey, can I get out here in my car? Can I get in and out? And if the sand is bad that day, they'll tell you because it changes every day. You probably shouldn't go out there with two-wheel drive. You should probably look for public parking. If you have an all-wheel drive or a four-wheel drive vehicle, you should be good at most areas, but hopefully your car is a little bit higher than my car was. I just got it lifted a couple inches. But I only had about 6 inches of clearance. Now I got about 8. So I'm going to be a lot more comfortable going on the beach because before I was literally like plowing sand out of the way. This goes along with beaches as well. A lot of people ask me is if you're allowed to have your dog off leash on the beach, and you're not. Technically, you're not, but people still do whatever they want anyway. And if your dog has good recall, if he's not reactive, then I would say feel comfortable to do it, because there's no one out there like calling the police on you for not having your dog on a leash. Most people here are very dog friendly. They love to see it. I love to see a dog out there playing. So, do what you're gonna do, but don't blame me if you get arrested. Another great part of northeastern Florida, living here in St. Augustine, is gonna be our distance to other fun. So we actually have, Jacksonville just about an hour away. They got the Jacksonville Zoo up there. They have Jacksonville Beach, a lot of great restaurants down there. That's only gonna be about an hour away from St. Augustine. If you want to go down to Daytona, maybe you're a big racing fan. I know they have the cheerleading competition every single year there. That's only going to be about an hour away from our location. If you want to go to Disney, Universal, that's going to be about a 2-hour drive. So you can do a day trip there pretty easily if you are looking to hang out in one of those parks. But also one thing that I didn't even know about till I was in my 20s growing up here in northeastern Florida is all of the springs that we have available to us that are really in central Florida. They got Devil's Den, that's a beautiful one to check out. They got Ginny Springs. They have, I think, Blue River Springs. All of these freshwater springs that have crystal clear blue water year round, and they're 70 degrees. Great time to check out, and with only a 2-hour driving distance from St. Augustine. All right, and the next note you need to know about is going to be the local wildlife here in the area. Now, people think that we drive around with alligators in our car and that they're in our swimming pools and that we just hang out with them on a daily basis. For the most part, alligators are not a concern of most people living here in St. Augustine. It's a very populated area, but you will find smaller gators for sure in the marsh areas. You're going to be about maybe 2, 3, 4 foot gators. They're not going to be humongous. They're probably more scared of you than you are of them. In terms of what you're going to see in your lawn, you're going to find coral snakes. You're going to find black snakes, but those are snakes that you want. They kill the rodents. They make sure that you don't have any mice running through your house. So you want to see those snakes. The other snake you want to watch out for is going to be a water moccasin. Those are nasty snakes. You do not want to be by those snakes. You got to watch out for them because they are aggressive. But otherwise, you don't really see those that often. I think I've only seen one my entire time living here. It's not really much to worry about. On the plus side of wildlife, you just see some beautiful, beautiful birds out here. St. Augustine Alligator Farm has a bird rookery where they fly in, fly out, and do their own thing. It's pretty interesting how they do things there. But also, you go to the beach, you go on the water, you're going to see seagulls flying ahead. You're going to see dolphins in the water, whales in the water. Tons of beautiful local wildlife here in St. Johns County. The next thing you need to know about is cars, and that really, compared to other states, we don't really have much rules, which is why you'll see like a 50-year-old car that's duct taped together driving down I-95. That's why you'll see news stories that say car fire on the side of 95. It's because there's no inspections. You can just pretty much be driving around the biggest hunk of junk possible here in the state of Florida. And honestly, I'm all for it. I lived in Pennsylvania for several years. You had to get an inspection. You had to get registered every single year. And it was just a cost. It was literally just a cost just to get things done. It was a pay-to-play type of situation. Whereas here, your car runs. It's got 4 tires on it. You're good to go. One thing to note, which is different than a lot of other states, is if there is a police officer that is it's pulled someone over to the side of the road and they're on the side of a 2-lane highway, you either need to slow 20 miles below speed limit if you're in that lane directly next to them, or you need to move over to the furthest lane and maintain your speed. If you don't, they can pull you over. That's a traffic citation. Believe me, it's happened. I thought it was 10 miles per hour, and I slowed down and everything, thought I was doing the right thing, and the guy pulled me over. And I was like, really, dude? Like, I literally slowed down like no one was at risk. And I was being completely honest. Like, I thought it was 10 miles per hour, and he gave me a ticket anyway. Unbelievable. I should have pulled my sheriff badge out. I didn't have it at that time, actually. Never mind. So they also have a lot of festivals here in the area. They have a Sing Out Loud festival, which is kind of the way that the amphitheater caps off the end of summer. It's more of a locals thing. Everything is free for us to go to. And it's a whole bunch of bands for a week long that go and play, and it's free for everyone to go to. So that's a great little festival. Lincolnville has like Porch Fest, which is kind of another similar thing. It's like, hey, little porch jams and hanging out with your neighbor. They have the Rhythm and Ribs Festival, which is country music and ribs. Who doesn't like that? They also have a Latin American music festival coming for this. I think it's the second time this year. My wife went last year. She said it was a great time. They also have a St. Augustine Film Festival. So whatever that is, whatever art you're really into, they're going to have some type of festival, whether it's cooking or it's actually art or music. They're going to have something related to that here in the area for sure. The 15th thing you need to know about is if you haven't been getting fresh local seafood in your area, you better get ready for some fresh local seafood because it's the best. I was eating frozen shrimp for a long time just because it was more cost effective, and I didn't live in an area where I had access to fresh local seafood. But let me tell you, you get some fresh shrimp. There's Kyle's on US 1. There's also BJ's on US 1. Both great places. I think BJ's is the only place open on Sunday. But you can get some really, really flavorful fish here that it's just the best. Once you go from frozen to fresh, you'll never go back. I can't even look at that shrimp anymore. The next thing you need to know about living here in St. Augustine is that, like the rest of the state of Florida, is we have no state income tax. So when you go to file your taxes, you only have to worry about your federal returns. There's no state income tax. With that, we do have a little bit of a higher sales tax than everywhere else. Sales tax here is 6.5%. The next thing you need to know about is the weather here in the area. People think of Florida and they think of god-awful hot. That humidity, 100%, the heat all the way cranked up. Here in St. Augustine, we're in northeastern part of Florida. July and August are going to be that. They're going to be the 100% humidity, 90 to 100 degree days, and they're going to be tough. But luckily for us, we live in, the age of innovation. We have air conditioning. So our cars have air conditioning, all the buildings have air conditioning, and they keep it blasting. So it's not really something that a lot of people here notice. Outside of those 2 months, the rest of the year is very, very beautiful. We're talking 70 to 80 degrees on the daily. So if you're able to stomach those 2 months of hot hell, the rest of the year is fantastic. Now you will see some cold snaps here and there. I think we actually had like a close to freezing day on Christmas this past year, but that was maybe in total we probably had like 5 or 6 cold days, which is like under 40, under 50, let's say, here during our past winter. The next thing you need to know about if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in the area is going to be what's the cost of a house here. You covered all this stuff, but you left cost of housing towards the end. Was that done on purpose? It wasn't. I just wrote this list, and that's just how it worked out. Median sale price here in the area is going to be $510,000. You, of course, can find stuff that's a lot cheaper than that. If you're looking maybe a condo or a townhome or a single-family home. But that's going to be the median sale price here in the area. You can find a lot more expensive than that, too. You can find $3 million, $4 million homes if you want to as well. But median sale price, $510,000. The next thing you need to know about is going to be when you're concerned with the health and welfare and the safety of you and your family in the area, is that St. Johns County loves its sheriff's office. I think they're one of the largest employers here with around 600 people. The last time I interviewed the sheriff though, and he said they had like 900 people. So maybe the numbers haven't been updated in the past couple of years. But he said 900, so I'm gonna tend to believe him, and I interviewed him. So either way, St. Johns County loves its police here. You can't go really driving 10 minutes without seeing 1 to 2 cop cars. It's very easy to do here. If you're downtown, you're going to see the St. Augustine Police Department. They're going to be on their bikes. They're going to be riding around in their cars. You're going to see them out here. They're definitely enforced. You're on the beach, same thing. And the 20th thing that you need to know about if you're thinking about making St. Augustine your next home is going to be that it is a tourist town, guys, okay? There's not very much industry here in the area. The main industry is going to be tourism. So we have all these people, I think 8 million people visit St. Augustine every single year. So that's the lifeblood of the town here. It's going to be those small businesses. It's going to be the service workers. It's going to be the restaurant, the hotels, the experiences here in St. Augustine that provide a lot of the jobs. But also that's why people come here for the tourism. So with that comes its headaches, right? We talked about the traffic and those issues there. Talk about people just moving to town. So tourism is definitely alive and well here in St. Johns County, and it's not going to go anywhere. And the last thing that you may not know about, one of the reasons that I really love living here in St. Augustine is the people. You could also say salt of the earth people, right? I've just met some genuinely great people here in St. Augustine. When I grew up, I had a lot of people that, in a sense, mentored me, took care of me, with no financial incentive towards them, just because they knew that my mom needed help. She was a single mother here. She had cancer. She passed away when I was 13, and my family did need help at that time. And people of St. Augustine at that time, really nameless and faceless to me because I was 12 and dealing with my mom passing away from cancer, were willing to step in and help. One year for Christmas, this is 100% a fact, I got into guitar and I was playing guitar a good bit, and I had this older guitar that was just a starter, maybe $150 guitar, and I played it and I was getting good, and either way, we couldn't afford anything for Christmas. Everything was stretched. My mom was barely working because she was so sick, and a church here in St. Augustine actually funded my sister and I's Christmas, and I ended up getting an acoustic guitar, which I still have to this day, and it's always stuck with me. Stuff like that always sticks with me. So that's the number one reason, that's the number one thing that I love about living in this town that I think you need to know. Guys, and that is it. I hope you gained a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of insight to what living in St. Augustine is like. If you did, please do me that solid and tap that subscribe button below. Like the video and comment if you have any additional questions. If you are looking to buy, sell, or invest here in St. Augustine, make sure you reach out to me directly. I'd love to be able to help, whether it's a call, text, or email. I'm here for you. Until next time, guys.